Hey, it's Dr. Jennifer Stoll here with Cimarron Global Solutions, and you may have read my article in Creating Community Through Sport, our every other month publication, about some of the bold steps I would recommend taking if I were running a sports commission here today in the middle of 2025. And I just gave you one-liners in that article, but I'm going to dive in quick hit on all 25 of those suggestions that I offered and give you a little bit more context behind why I made this suggestion. Now, I went so far as to take some pretty diligent notes on each one of those things in preparation for this video or these videos. So I'm going to pop them off really quickly, but I am going to refer to my notes and read a little bit along the way because I want to make sure that I cover everything that I want to cover during that time. So, like it says in the article, these are for folks who really want to dive in and be a part of changing the industry for the good going forward. So, let's jump right in. Number one was fervently decrease your reliance on lodging tax funding as much as possible and increase that entrepreneurial spirit that lives inside most all of us as leaders in the industry and thus revenue diversification. Now, I know that's a contentious one right off the bat. A lot of us survive on lodging tax revenue. But the thing is, here's my thought behind it. Did COVID not teach us anything? We went through that really hard period where the bottom fell out and we all realized that we had all of our eggs in one basket, but the bounce back was so fast that we didn't change anything. Now, I'm not saying this as a scare tactic. It's reality. It's prudent and it's an impact tactic. Reality, as in, we are seeing the grumblings and actual reallocation of lodging tax in some places, and we can't ignore that this is happening. Prudence in that it is always a good business practice to have diversified streams of revenue. And it's an impact tactic because the diversification of revenue streams will free you up to really start making a measurable impact on your community through programming and initiatives that drive not only the economic development, the ROI, but also the community development or the ROM, return on mission. If this seems daunting, just start small. Even diversifying your revenue from 100% in one basket to 99, 95, 90% in one basket and a sliver, a few percentages in another basket will go a really long way to help. Okay, well, right in line with looking to diversify our revenue streams is also taking a really hard look at the other side of our P&L statement, our expenses, right? And I talk a little bit about this. It goes without saying, but I'll say it again. In most cases, we are stewards of public funds. It's wise for us as leaders of our organizations to reflect on our expense side of the ledger. Are we spending our resources in ways that could be subject to speculation? Are we truly driving measurable return for every dollar spent? If you or your local community was, is, or are footing the bill, would you be confident in each expense? Is there savings to be had and outcomes to be gained by trying something new? Now, these are all sound questions organization leaders should be asking and evaluating regularly. So, my number two is take a hard look at your organization's expenses and scrutinize every single dollar spent. Remind yourself that you're likely funded by public dollars, and this comes with an extraordinary amount of responsibility. All right, number three, analyze all your markets previously hosted, currently contracted, and future bid on events against the Cimarron Event Tiering system so you can properly benchmark your performance and be laser focused on what you target and why. You're going to hear me talk about being laser focused, what you target, and why over and over again in these short videos. By this point in the game, we should know exactly what events we target and why we target them. We no longer need to cast wide nets in hopes to land a fish. If you're feeling like your organization is still casting those wide nets, then it's probably because the what and the why questions remain blurry. Remember, every event in your community's portfolio serves a different purpose, and no two of them are likely the same. So check out Cimarron's proprietary event tiering system and the resources linked to help you get started by bringing your efforts into a laser focus. This will also bring forth organizational efficiencies and cost savings that we just mentioned in numbers one and number two. Number four, walk down the hall and look at your mission statement, values, and core pillars framed on your wall and ask yourself, Does my community think we're achieving these? Why or why not? Note, it's not about whether you think you're achieving them. We're here to serve our communities, plain and simple. We've likely called that out in our founding documents. It's on our website somewhere, slightly on the first page of our employee handbook that nobody's probably ever read. But are we really doing that? Can we truly serve our community through our mission, vision, values, pillars, or anything else, what other groundbreaking statement we have, if we're not addressing the issues of our industry and talking to, not at, our community members? This is one of the primary reasons we've partnered with Longwoods International for the Resident Sentiment Towards Sporting Events National Benchmark Study. We'll link to it below. Because if we espouse to serve our local community, we darn well better know what they think of what we're doing. Number 5 is to clearly define and measure your return on mission or ROM objectives. This is why we do what we do, plain and simple. All the other stuff should feed our ROM. See my recent video to learn more about the differences between ROI and ROM and how they work together. Now that you've revisited your mission, you'll likely realize it stemmed from the notion of making a positive impact in your community. This is done in part through economics, ROI, we talk about this, but probably most importantly through ROM or return on mission. I've often said it's the so what of what we do. So get together with your team, listen to your community members, then lock yourselves in a room for a day or two to figure out what the issues are in your community when it comes to sport and how you and your organization can be a leader in solving them. Get real, get clear, make priorities, and measure the impact. Number 6, well, we call ourselves the quarterback of sports in our community. And one way that we might actually make a huge impact when it comes to return on mission objectives is something simple. It's starting a foundation and getting to work solving your community's sport access, participation, and other issues. Here's just one example. A foundation can be a great way to solve problems in a community, garner additional community awareness and support, which we all want, and drive home your crucial ROM priorities. Several top sports commissions in the country have foundations and achieve some incredible results with them. But it takes more than just a salesperson. It takes a community-minded, business-savvy leader. Check out part 4 of our Fixing Youth Sports Again series, linked below, for some examples of programs that are working across the country. And start thinking about whether you should start a foundation. Number 7 is a hot one. Refuse to contract any event that mandates stay to play. Let's put a stop to this nonsense once and for all. If this opens up gaps in your facilities, then fill them with free clinics and camps for your underserved youth. Your corporate community will get behind you. Boom. Yes, I know I said it, and I railed on stay to play in my recent Triple Dip article. It's double dipping parents and widening the divide by contributing to pricing out of kids and families. So enough of it already. Do you, as a sports leader in your market, have the courage to stand up against this practice? Because the only reason it's perpetuating is because we allow it to. We can't keep talking about how outrageous this is. We must do something about it. Parents often can't. They're sucked into the system and see no way out. But we, as quarterbacks in our community for sport, can and should. So let's step up, write a policy, and implement it. Number 8 is quite a simple one. Build or collaborate on a local program serving underserved youth. Write a business plan, get community support, and make it happen. Our communities depend on it. While you're at it, drafting a newly minted no more stay to play policy, be a convener. Go back to number 5, where you identified your ROM and come up with a program to solve the most pressing problems in your community. Gather the doers in your communities, not the talkers, the doers. Also, we better make sure we're not the talkers. Find those people who are passionate, will show up for kids and families, and who will not just daydream, but who will get it done. Put some pen to the back of a napkin and go start changing the lives in your community through sport like we say we can. Can't find anyone to join you? Fine. Take your family, grab up your kids, and go do it by yourself without the expectation of any recognition or glory, just because it's the right thing to do and enough is enough. Number 9 dives into hanging our hats on the tried and true economic impact numbers. We've written about this extensively in the past, but they don't necessarily resonate with those outside of our industry, and their validity can be questioned. We want to focus on real stories of real impact. A few weeks of number 8 above, and you'll likely have some stories to tell. But whether it's your personal mission of impacting your community or a larger effort, it's the real stories that resonate so much more than those pie in the sky economic numbers. Yes, we have to measure ROI, and we should, but the point is, it shouldn't be the sole metric by which we evaluate our work and its impact. There is so much more out there that you may have heard me talk about. In fact, I taught a whole course on how to do this for Sports ETA, and I'll link to that as well. Take it if you haven't already, and tell me if it doesn't change the way you approach your role in the industry. If your community is your number one customer, and I believe it is, remember the so what, then we better start doing work and talking about the ways our efforts are changing lives and places we live for the better. Number 10, here's an idea. Get out in the community and volunteer for youth sports events with your staff quarterly. While you're there, talk to people, all of the people, parents, coaches, players, volunteers, officials, and organize. Then listen to what they have to say. Remember the old school secret shoppers? I don't even know if that's still a thing anymore. Anyway, this is one simple and effective way to put your ear to the ground about the state of sports, the needs, the triumphs, and the opportunities to become a catalyst for change in your community. And no, I'm not talking about volunteering at the $2,000 per team showcase tournament that I wrote about my truth in private equity that I wrote about in my article called Truth About Private Equity in Youth Sports. Although I'm sure you'd learn more than you ever wanted to know there as well, I'm talking about going to that part of the town you avoid and a volunteer for the rec basketball program on a Saturday afternoon during college football season. I promise you, it will be humbling and illuminating.